All right, while the Biden administration continues to cave to the Taliban's deadline demands, our Secretary of State was put on the spot today about why this administration is even paying attention to a terrorist group that's not even legally recognized by the government. Here is his response.
The Taliban, whether we like it or not, is in control, largely in control of the country, certainly in control of the city of Kabul. And it's been important to work with them to try to facilitate and ensure the departure of all those who want to leave. And that has actually been something that we've been focused on from the beginning of this operation, because as a practical matter, it advances our interests.
All right, joining us now is the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, California Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, good to see you again.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, your Democratic counterpart on the Intelligence Committee, California Congressman Adam Schiff, said yesterday that, quote, we're looking now at the intelligence, and, you know, the intelligence over the last 6 months was increasingly pessimistic about the Afghan government's ability to maintain itself. He went on to say that he was not ready to make any conclusions, but it looked like a military planning failure to him because, you know, of what he was seeing. Are you seeing what he's seeing, or are you seeing what President Biden is seeing? Because clearly what Biden is seeing is not what Schiff is seeing.
Well, I'm not sure Biden knows what he's seeing, and whatever Schiff says he's seeing, he usually makes stuff up most of the time to fit whatever narrative he is creating that day to advance his left-wing causes. So let's just back up a second. What's the problem here? You had on Michael Walz, Congressman from Florida, at the beginning of your show. I was able to watch it. I think he did a really good job of explaining what's happening here. You don't need an intelligence report. You don't need to talk to anyone. If you just have a little bit of common sense, you knew that the Taliban was going to take over. Now, here's the larger problem that Blinken, who, by the way, that's the first time I've seen him. I thought he was a cricket for a while because I hadn't seen him in so long. I think that was his first press conference today that he gave. But here's the reality. Al-Qaeda is on the run. So we know that under Obama, they allowed ISIS to come back. Now, the same exact people who were on Obama's team have now been placed in positions of power with the Biden administration. And so just like they let ISIS come back, and remember, ISIS was an offshoot, a variant of Al-Qaeda. So Al-Qaeda has long been in Afghanistan. It's been well documented by actual real journalists and people who do real research. I've been saying that publicly now for many, many years, despite the fact that you had Biden the other day say that Al-Qaeda wasn't there. You had Obama say, oh, bin Laden's dead, Al-Qaeda's on the run before he let ISIS come back. These people are under some, they follow some strange type of cult that negotiating with terrorists or people that work with terrorists is somehow going to end up okay. So the only failure here was that clearly someone in the Department of State, the State Department, and the Defense Department decided to waive all existing requirements that normally you would have throughout the protocol and the procedure that have been in place for decades that you would normally have to follow. You would never be in a situation where we would let go of Bagram Air Base or the others for that matter in order to ensure that you had a plan to get the Americans out of there, our diplomats and other NGOs and those types of folks that are in country. So that's the reality of what's happening here. Anybody who spent any time working on this, you've always known that Taliban was working with the Haqqani network, harboring Al-Qaeda, while at the same time, as soon as you let this go, it was going to be a matter of days, weeks, et cetera, that the embassy in Kabul was going to fall. And in fact, I predicted it about a month ago on national television.
Well, Congressman, speaking of days, we only have days before this 31st deadline right now. And Secretary of State Blinken said in his press conference today that the administration is committed to getting everyone out, even past that deadline. But he also said the Taliban has a responsibility to grant safe passage to this. So we're relying on the Taliban to let our people out. One, how crazy of a strategy of that is that? And what is going to happen after the 31st? What does that actually look like?
Well, that's exactly what I was saying. These people And I say these old Biden or Obama people that were brought forward, this is what they've always believed. They've always believed that if we're just nice to the Taliban, it'll be okay. I mean, you've heard this for years and years, that these people, this is some strange, it really is a cult. I call it a cult because you have to be absolutely nuts to believe this. The problem is these are the people that are running our government. And sadly, these are people who are spread throughout the Defense Department, throughout the State Department, and sadly also within our intelligence agencies. And so you have people that follow this cult who say, oh, all of these guys, like the brave men and women who fought over there, who killed bin Laden, who took out a lot of al-Qaeda, the Haqqani network, all the things we've been doing all over the globe on this counterterrorism war that we've been in since 9/11 for 20 years, they're basically saying, well, if we would have just been nice to these people, this would have never happened. Look, it's preposterous. I know that, but I'm just trying to explain, how did we get here? We got here because the people that were elected last November believe these crazy conspiracies that you can work and negotiate with these people, and it's never been the case. And I think Michael Walls put it right. Al-Qaeda 3.0 is going to be much worse than this, and none of this had to ever have happened. I mean, look, we had to get out of Afghanistan, but we would have never left Bagram Air Base, right? Meaning we didn't have to fund and have a huge presence throughout the whole country, but for strategic reasons, giving up a Bagram Air Base was foolishness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Congressman, I know you're on a tight schedule. We're out of time, but I do want to have you back soon because I'm very concerned about what happens next. I know you are too. I appreciate you being here tonight, but we've got to get into what happens after August 31st, as Lindsay mentioned.
We're going to be really lucky. We're going to be really lucky if we don't have hostages taken in Afghanistan. That's the real
I'm also
concern.
worried what's going to come to our shores.
Right.
All right. Well, I know we've both got to run. That worries me, and what comes to our shores worries me. Congressman Devin Nunes, as always, thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.